Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be one of two videos that are kind of they coincide with each other. This first one is going to be all the series I want to, at least the ones that are on my bookshelf. The ones that are on my iPad are a whole different story. These are the series that I want to restart so I can finally finish them, but it's been so long, or I believe they deserve a reread. So that is these ones. These are in no order whatsoever. First is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This one has been popular for quite some time. It is a chunker. The other ones are a chunker. I think I've read this one and the second one, but before I go on, because it's been so long, I just feel like it would be worth a reread. And I love rereading, so like it's no big deal. It is about a girl who has been raised in like solitary, like she's been alone, and I think she has to travel somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, and she has like a guardian that needs to basically get her from point A to point B. Like no one can look at her. She wears like this like a veil thing, and yeah, it's a whole thing. Weird, but a whole thing. What, like, if you think about it. But they treat her like she's like not a person. I think in the back somewhere, I really liked what it said. Because a maiden has a heart and a soul and longing, and they don't really treat her like she has any of those things. But yes, an honor-bound guard has to get her to her ascension, and things happen, and I really, really liked book one. I can't really remember if I've liked book two because it's been so long, but I'm gonna reread this. This is one that has been, you know, the next three are going to be, let me hold them all at once, because anyone who's watched or been subscribed to my channel knows that I brought these books up so many times it's almost ridiculous. It's these three. So Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh, Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa, and then Frostblood by Kelly Blake. So this one is a duology, this one's a trilogy, and I've only read just book one and book one. For Frostblood, I have read book one and two. Book two is called Fireblood, but I don't know what it is about these series. Because I liked it, but I think it's my ADHD. Like, I just like pivot onto like, I'm in the middle of like, I don't even want to look at my spreadsheet, but I'll put the number right here. Like, that is how many series I'm in the middle of, which is absolutely ridiculous. I also started getting a lot more Kindle Unlimited books, and that is not helping my spreadsheet of series I'm in the middle with. This year alone has probably raised that number to like up like 25. Granted, a lot of them are like standalones in the same world that have like an overarching thing, because there are a lot of like romance books and like shifter books, and like that happens quite often with those kind, but still a series nonetheless. So here we are. I'm not going to go too much into these, but I do know that this follows a girl who has some sort of power to do with like cold and frost and all of that, but she lives in a fire. No, that is incorrect. It's backwards. It's been so long, even though I've read this book like 2 or 3 times now, but we're not going to talk about that. But basically, the Frostbloods like run the kingdom, and she is basically a Fireblood hidden because the Frostbloods have killed them all off. So things happen where she is basically found and then taken off to the Frostbloods, and the story just kind of goes like that, goes from there. I think she is basically a hidden Fireblood, and I think the romance part is with the prince, or one of the princes. I can't remember. I love elemental magic. It's one of my favorites, so always really fun. And then for Flame in the Mist, this is about a girl who has been raised basically just to marry. I think her father is a samurai or a ninja or something along those lines, and she is an accomplished alchemist. Yes, an accomplished alchemist. And then on the way to her betrothed, I don't know if she's met him or not, I don't remember, her convoy is attacked and things go from there. I remember really liking this book, so, you know, it'll be nice to like reread it and then finally read the second one, but I'll get there. And then we have Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. I really like this one as well. I also buddy read it like years ago with other booktubers, and I really liked it. It looks like this is from a book box of some sort. Maybe Owl Crate? I can't remember. But basically, 1,000 years ago, the great Kami dragon was summoned to grant a single terrible wish, and the land of Iwagoto was plunged into an age of darkness and chaos. Now, for whoever holds the scroll of 1,000 prayers, A new wish will be granted. A new age is about to dawn. And then there's a girl. She is raised by a bunch of monks, and there is an attack on her like little village where she lives, or I think it's a monastery of some sort. She is half yokai. I think she's half kitsune fox. She either has the scroll or is on the way to try to find the scroll, but there's other parties also interested in the scroll. You get a wish, so that's, very important. But yeah, another book I really liked, and yeah, here we are. The next one is Bone Crier's Moon by Catherine Purdy, one of my auto-buy authors for sure, 100%. I did read this one, really liked it, but then I heard like mixed reviews of the second in this duology, and so I own it, but I put it off. But I want to get that back because I'm very easy to please. Like, I go to my books for escapism, not necessarily to write a book report on them, even knowing that's kind of ironic since I'm a booktuber. But I don't put out a lot of reviews or wrap-ups because I just like to enjoy things. But I did really like this one. So we are going to get there at some point, but when we do, that is the question. Basically, this young lady is a bone crier, and basically it's like a group of women who do stuff with bones for, I don't know, like the Lord of the Dead or something like that. I have no idea. I do not remember. But they have like this power, and this young man, something happened with his father that her people, maybe even her mother, killed. I think the bone criers have to basically, when they sacrifice their true loves or like their fated love or whatever. And I think these two are fated or somewhere along those lines. And she's supposed to, be a bone crier, and basically sacrifice his life. Fated romance doesn't always go the way you think. But yeah, what happened to his father? That is the question. Bashan's father was slain by a bone crier, and he's been seeking revenge ever since. But his vengeance comes too late. Alyssa's ritual has begun, and now their fates are intertwined in life and in death. Bone criers have one sacred duty. They alone can keep the dead from preying on the living, but their power to ferry the spirits of the dead into goddess Alara's night heavens or Tyrus's underworld comes from sacrifice. The gods demand a promise of dedication at the cost of the bone crier's one true love. I really like this first one. So when I heard mixed reviews about the other one, I was a little disappointed, and hence why I never picked it up. So I want to reread this before I jump into the second duology, but look at the gold. Another one I really liked, which is also a duology, is The Merciful Crow. And this one, I guess it kind of has a similar vibe for Bone Crier's Moon, because the crows collect bones for stuff as well. But we have the daughter of a chief who is in line to be the next chief or chieftain or whatever they call them. And basically what the crows do is they get bones from witches, like dead witches, and they use those bones in the magic, and they're seen as dirty, and they're discriminated against and all of that kind of stuff. So basically they go and get bones from people who die, which is very interesting. At one point, they are basically called to go and pick up a body and the bones, and it turns out to be the prince, and how him and his bodyguard have basically faked their death to get away from an evil, ruthless queen. And it kind of goes from there. So yeah, I really liked it. Yeah, I guess bone magic is something else I'm really interested in, because I really like Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and they do stuff with teeth, which is kind of the same, but here we are. This next one could have went with Bone Crier's Moon, Shadow of the Fox, and Flame in the Mist, but that is Crown of Feathers. This is another one that I absolutely adored, but never went on. When I did read this one, only this one was out. The books 2 and 3 weren't out yet, so usually when that happens, I lose track of the series and they fall on the wayside, basically. But we have basically a girl. She lives basically in this place where there are phoenix riders, but they are only ever boys or men. So she dresses up as a boy and she goes off to become a Phoenix Rider, which I think is in her blood. I think it used to be women, but now it's men. I don't remember the details at all. She is a war orphan, and things just kind of happen. I remember the ending of this book being kind of intense, so I'm really excited to reread it, you know, remind my mind exactly what was happening and what's going on, and then go on with the other ones, because this is one I'm actually really excited to get to and then also finish. But I could say that about all of these, so what's the point of even me saying it now? I'll probably say it for the next books as well, because I'm really excited to reread these, even though I recently read them either at the beginning of this year or close to last year. I can't remember, but I love both of these books, so let's get on to those. For these books, I read them and then I had to buy special editions of them. So I did. That is The Darkening by Sunyamara. I adored this book. I just said that, Sarah, stop it. Everyone knows I like these books. Okay, the other one was God Killer by Hannah Kaner, and I loved these. I did hear mixed reviews about the second book of God Killer, but I haven't heard much about the last book. So this is a trilogy, this is a duology. I really liked both of these to the point where I had to go out and buy special editions. So I really want to give them the time they deserve, so I will probably reread both of them before I go on with the series there as well. So God Killer follows a young woman whose parents were killed by gods. I don't remember what type of god. Oh my gosh, what is that bug? It might have been fire, I don't know. Some sort of elemental, because I like elementals, so I remember those things. But she now makes a living off of killing gods, basically. Like it's a whole like job in this society to kill gods. She basically runs across a god she can't kill. He has tied himself to a young girl who also happens to be a noble. So the three of them start to trek out to like the land of the gods or something like that, where they will each ask a favor, so on and so forth. But the ending of this one as well, at the end, they somehow end up going separate ways. I think something happens where the god and the girl think our main character is dead, but she's not. So not sure how that would. Oh my gosh, no, Mustang's gonna start screaming. He does this when he carries around his toys. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what I was saying, but we're gonna get to it. This one follows a girl who is basically on the run or on the move with her father. She is the daughter of revolutionaries. The queen of this kingdom like sent her mother to her death. And there is like a storm basically where like if you walk into it, you die basically. And so the queen made her mom, you know, she gave her two choices. Her mom decided to walk into the storm, basically. Yeah, they're basically on the run, revolutionaries, and the prince, who, you know, he also like has people under him, you know, goes out and tries to find revolutionaries and bring them back and probably kill them. So that is how they come together. I think her father is captured, and then she basically is like, I'm gonna get my dad back. And then her father has a bunch of like really experimental like magic. I think it comes in the form of a book. If I remember correctly, is in a locket. I'm not sure, I can't remember. But I really thought this was a super unique read, and I really liked it. And I remember there was some sort of cliffhanger at the end, but I can't remember what the cliffhanger was. Hence, I want to read this one again before I go on. So these are the books in the series I want to restart before I go on and hopefully finish. So yeah, we'll see. We will definitely see. But yeah, let me know if any of these strike your fancy, if you finish the series and recommend it or recommend one of these to start with. Please let me know. I know some are newer, some are older, but I feel like they all deserve a chance or a second chance or a third chance depending on the book. But again, we will not talk about that. But please like, comment, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time. I love. Bye.